I thank God for every closed door, because I wouldn't be
Hmm.
where I am if it. I have been, even just the past year or two alone, I have reached more people being able to teach them guitar than I ever would have imagined, and that wouldn't have
Hmm.
happened if I had open doors instead of closed doors in some situations. So I'm grateful for everything. He does work everything together for your good.
Hey, I'm Chelsea Amber, a Christian recording artist and the founder of Christian Guitar Girls, an encouraging community for female guitar players and bass players who love Jesus. And we are a group of women who are serving our communities through music and working on our guitar skills, all for the glory of God. You can find our Facebook group called Christian Guitar Girls Community to connect with other women in ministry and music. And all ages and skill levels are welcome. If you've been enjoying all the encouraging words you've heard from the podcast episodes so far, then I would love to send you even more encouragement in your inbox via devotionals. You can head to chelseaamber.com/5days to get 5 days of encouraging devotionals and free music downloads. So with that, I would love to welcome our next fantastic guest, Caitlin Caggiano. Caitlin graduated in 2017 as the first female to earn a degree in classical guitar performance from the University of Central Florida. Caitlin has been performing and teaching in the Orlando, Florida area for several years. As part of the USO band, or for those of us who are not in Canada, the United Service Organizations band, she played for American troops throughout Europe. And in 2016, she got to perform with a worship band in South Africa. She now plays lead guitar for several churches in the Central Florida area. And she teaches lessons and has courses available on her website, CaitlinCaggiano.com, to help you achieve your guitar goals. So, Caitlin, welcome
Yes.
to the
Thank
podcast.
you so much for having me. I am beyond excited to be here. Love what you do with the female guitar community. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'm so glad that I get to finally talk to you because I believe we met through Instagram.
Yes, yes, we did,
Yeah.
which is how I meet everybody now.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think I was searching for Christian Guitar Girls
Mhm.
and came across your profile and was blown away
Cool.
by just your talent and also your passion for Christ. So,
Love that.
so I'm excited to chat with you more about both of those things. But first of all, what are you drinking?
Okay, so I am actually drinking a canned matcha latte. It's by Taika,
Ooh.
Taika. I just discovered this a few months ago and it has been a game changer. It has like the healthy like mushrooms in it, like lion's mane and stuff like that, but
Mm.
it's with macadamia milk and it's amazing. Highly
Ooh.
recommend. I pop it in the freezer like 10 minutes before I'm going to drink it to get it really ice cold and it's
Huh.
amazing.
Okay, is that a Southern thing? Because my husband will take cans of things and put them
Yeah,
in the
I
freezer
I do it all the
10
time,
minutes.
especially
Yeah.
for when you live in Florida, when you need a cold drink, it needs to be, like, really, really cold. So just in the
Hmm.
freezer for a little bit makes it perfect.
Yeah. And my husband, he's from Texas, and so he does the same thing. Yeah.
Love that, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm just having the good old coffee drink.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
So it's
I've,
I'm a weird person, I don't do coffee. I know that is so weird, but that's why I do matcha, I sometimes do chai
Mm,
tea. I'm one of those weird freaks that don't drink coffee.
that's okay. I actually didn't drink coffee for the longest time, and then I became a mom and was
There
like,
you
"I
go.
need
Maybe
more
it'll
caffeine
happen
in
when
my
I
life."
become a mom.
Yeah. Yeah, but, anyway, so this is called the Christian Guitar Girls podcast, so I'd love to hear, the Christian part. I'd love to
Yeah,
hear more about
absolutely.
how you started your relationship with Christ.
Love that. Yeah, and honestly, that is really the most important thing. I
Mhm.
love when people recognize me for my music, for my playing, but the greatest compliment can be that people see Christ in me and in my music, and that's everything. I've really had a relationship with Jesus personally since I was a young child. When I was a child, I was really out in nature all the time. I grew up in South Florida. There were a lot of trees. I would always like be outside climbing trees or catching lizards, but I had God really clearly reveal himself to me through that. I've always felt since I was a young kid that he was always there. I felt him there with me. I felt him near. I truly have never in my life ever felt separated from God. I feel like I've never been alone. He's always been there. And I grew up with godly parents and they really helped nurture my walk with Christ. But it's been a beautiful journey, and your relationship with Christ is a personal, intimate experience, and every day you learn something new about Him, and it's great. And then once you really find the purpose that He put inside of you, that walk gets more intimate and deeper every day, and it's been a beautiful journey. It's every day is a new experience with Christ. It's beautiful.
Oh, I love that, and
Yeah.
I'm always encouraged when I hear about people whose parents, encourage them in the Lord, just because
Mhm.
as I'm at the
Yeah.
beginning of the parenting
Yeah.
journey to
Yeah,
see
it's
people who have
such a
done it
gift.
well, you know?
It's such a
Yeah,
gift. Yeah.
yeah, and so you gave your life to the Lord at a young age, and,
Mhm.
how did you start playing guitar?
That's a great question. So I it's people ask me this question and it's sometimes the weirdest answer. I felt like I was supposed to. I
Hmm,
remember literally being 5 years old, and I felt a desire to pick up the guitar and learn how to play it, but not because I wanted to. It was not like, "Oh, I think
mm,
the guitar is cool." It was I felt honestly, as at a young age, it was like this spiritual force telling me that I needed to do it.
mm.
Really odd story, but it is an important part of my walk with Christ and also my walk as a guitar player. When I was 5 years old, my parents got me my first guitar for Christmas. And a few days later, I found that guitar. I kept it in my closet every night. I put the guitar in the closet. A few days after I got that guitar, I had never really learned how to play it. I found it smashed in my closet. And to this day, I have no idea how that happened. I don't know if it
Oh,
fell over. I don't
no.
know if like somebody had broke it and just put it away. And I did not touch another guitar until I was 11 years old. So 6 years later, my mom
Wow.
got me one for Christmas, like a cheap, like $60 guitar from probably Walmart. I still have that
Mhm.
guitar. It's actually back there. It's crazy. And
Mhm.
then I took lessons. So it was really weird. It was like there was some like spiritual force not wanting to me to play the guitar. Like it was
Wow.
very odd, but I've always felt this need to do it. And I do it because I love it absolutely. But it was something much deeper than that, even from being literally 5 years old.
Wow. Oh, I love the way
Yeah.
it was the Lord, like, this actually
Truly,
it
yeah.
sounds like it came out of your relationship
Yeah.
with God and him leading you, and
And
that's so
it was
important.
like that
Yeah.
time too. It was really around that time when I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old, really feeling
Mm.
that the Lord was with me, which is
Wow.
crazy to be able to experience. But, there's not like a junior Holy Spirit, he's
Yeah.
is
I've
the
heard
Holy
people
Spirit.
say that.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Holy Spirit is alive and it is a living, breathing thing in the tiniest of children, the oldest adults. It is that same spirit that raised Christ from the dead that can be inside a 5-year-old girl telling her to
Yeah.
play the guitar.
Amen. I love it. Yeah. And so it sounds like God has opened some really cool doors for you with that in that leading. Because I read in your bio, it says you were the first woman to earn a degree in classical guitar performance from the University of Central Florida, which is
Yeah.
like a
That's
big
that's again,
deal.
that's some it's all God, it truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So was that like
y
was that a lonely
yeah,
experience, or did you feel like you had a lot
honestly,
of support?
yeah, so 2 things with that. 1, it is a lonely experience just because it's classical guitar, and classical guitar, when you're studying classical guitar, it is a long, lonely journey. It requires isolation, it requires focus. I remember spending, honest to God, 8 to 10 hours a day practicing in a practice room where it's just me, myself, and God. So, yeah, that was lonely, but truly one of the most revelatory seasons for me. Being intimate with God and that instrument with no distractions, no amps, no pedals, nothing affecting the tone other than wood, nylon strings, and my fingers. And in those moments, there was one day, literally, God broke me down. I remember being in a practice room playing like a Bach lute suite on the guitar, something really nerdy. And I was such a perfectionist trying to get everything perfect. And I just felt God tell me, put the guitar down and lay face down on the floor. I laid face down on the floor of a practice room
Mm,
at UCF, a huge secular university. And I had God reveal to me that I am not the artist. I'm not the musician. The guitar is not the instrument. He is the artist. He is the
mm,
musician. I am the instrument. The guitar is just an extension from that. That's all it is.
mm,
And so in that isolation, in that lonely season, it was truly one of the most revelatory seasons for me, and I'm so grateful that I had that before the next seasons of accomplishing all of these things on the guitar. But another
mm.
way it was lonely was being the only female to graduate that with from that program.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something that probably most female musicians, female guitarists probably struggle with. We need to be
Mm,
as strong and as skilled as the men, and we're in a male dominated field. So
mm,
we compete with the men. We have to. But it's also so important to understand what sets us apart. It's so important
mhm,
to keep the femininity in the expression of our music. Women and men approach
mhm.
music differently. They perform
Yeah.
music differently. And it's important to have that balance of still being able to compete with the men and be very strong, skilled guitarists and be the strongest guitarist I can be, but also hold that feminine quality with such sacredness. And it was, I think that was a really important thing to learn as well, to have that balance.
Yeah, there's value in being a woman in music.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is
Absolutely.
something unique that we can all bring to it, and I think sometimes there is the pressure that, "Oh, I have to pursue this or make this music or do
Mhm.
whatever, lead this worship band like a man," but
Yeah.
you can do like God made you a woman.
Absolutely, it is so important for anything in life, but for music, oh my gosh, it truly is.
Yeah, and some other, opportunities. You had some really cool ones,
Yeah.
that came up with going to play
Mhm.
overseas, both in Europe and in South Africa. So
Yeah.
how did these come about?
You know what? People ask me this all the time. There's been so many great opportunities that have come across my path, and the answer I give them all the time, I started serving local churches. I just started
Mm,
serving. I was in Nashville for a while, and there was some burnt bridges there. There was stuff that just fell through.
mm,
I remember coming home before I got my degree, and I just said, God, the only thing I'm going to do with music is study the guitar and serve you with it. And I literally wanted to only play in churches. And I just started serving a local church here in Orlando, and
mm.
just great opportunities came from it. The worship team that I was on was asked to lead worship for several conferences around the world. I've been able to lead in Africa, lead in Europe, Spain, a lot of different places, and it's just been amazing. But I tell this to so many people that are like wanting all these great opportunities, and don't try to go out and find these opportunities. Just serve God, just glorify God, serve your local church, see what happens. Like, God will open so many doors if you just serve him and glorify him with everything you do.
Yeah, and what I find encouraging, I've had some negative experiences in Nashville too, to be honest.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
Um,
everybody does, right?
everybody does. I mean, I've had good experiences
Yeah, your
too, and I
mailman's a better
love
guitar
Nashville,
player than
but
you, so it's like
I know. But I just it's a reminder to trust
Mhm.
God even with the closed doors,
Yeah,
and even when things don't work out or things fall through, that God is in that as well. He's in all the details,
absolutely.
and he may, for anybody out there who's facing that kind of situation, like
Mhm.
standing in front of a closed door, um, we can trust God with that. And
Mm,
maybe he'll open the door again in the
yeah,
future, or maybe he's leading us elsewhere. I mean, that's up to us to kind of,
yeah.
spend some time with him and ask where he's leading. But I think that's a real encouragement. He works
Every
all things together.
every day I continue in the journey that I'm on right now, I thank God for the every closed door, because I wouldn't be where I am if it I have been, even just the past year or 2 alone, I have reached more people being able to teach them guitar than I ever would have imagined, and that wouldn't have happened if I had open doors instead of closed doors in some situations. So I'm grateful for everything. He does work everything together for your good.
Yeah, he is so good. And even I'm thinking, so slight deviation from what we're talking about, but also the
Mhm.
mistakes, because we're
Yeah.
talking about closed doors. Sometimes those closed doors come from mistakes or wrong turns, and he's still
Mhm.
faithful with that too. And
Completely, completely.
yeah, so oh man, he's so good.
He's too good. He's too good. I deserve not none of it. I deserve none of it. It's amazing what he does.
So can you share one experience with us of how you saw God use music to touch someone?
Yeah. Great, great question. I probably have a weird answer to it, because some people are gonna be just assuming some things like, "Oh, like somebody heard this song and they accepted Christ," or something like that. It's kind of a weird story, but,
That's all right. I like weird stories.
okay, great. So, when I was in college, this was probably 2014 or 15, and studying classical guitar, I was asked to perform for, a banquet at the university where, like, the president of the university of there, probably, like, 1,000 people or more were in the room, and I was
Mm,
playing, a Villa-Lobos prelude, which is a Brazilian piece. It wasn't a worship song, it was, like, Brazilian guitar music on an island string guitar, which I loved. But after the performance, I played one piece, I was packing up my stuff, and a woman who I've never met, never seen in my life, comes up to me while I'm packing up my instrument, and she says, "When you were playing, I physically saw Jesus standing next to you." And again,
wow.
this woman knows nothing about me. She doesn't know I'm a follower of Christ. She doesn't know anything about me. I wasn't even playing worship music. Like, I could understand if somebody said that, but and it was the oddest thing. Like, what?
Mm,
But it was really beautiful what she said. She said, he's with every note that you play, and everyone
Mm.
will see that from, like, this moment on. And it was
Wow.
I don't know if she was an angel, I have no idea, but it was one of the coolest experiences of my life truly in that situation, and having that and that was a very similar to the timeline of when I had that moment in that practice room where God broke me down and was face down in the practice room having this revelation of God as an artist, as a creator, and it was so beautiful for me to have those experiences, and again, these are when I was isolated. I really didn't have a lot of people around me at this time. God really reveals so much to you, and then he prepares you. That was preparing me for the next step and the next part of the journey for my guitar playing, and it was a beautiful moment. So I know that's kind of a wacky one, kinda weird, but
I think it's
it's
cool.
one of the coolest experiences that I've had, and truly, I mean, that is the truth. Jesus is literally right here every time I'm playing. He
Mm.
that it's every note, he's there. So it was a cool story.
Yeah, and I think sometimes we get in this mindset where we're like, "Oh, God is with me at church," but we
Mhm.
forget that he's with us at the grocery store. He's with us when we're,
Yeah,
at this other event or at whatever. Like
absolutely.
he is closer than a brother,
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's just a really great reminder.
Mhm.
Even if we're not playing in a
Yeah,
church, we're playing somewhere else, we're taking care of our kids, or whatever. He's with us.
amen to that.
So you were talking about some of the closed doors that you faced that then God used to lead you in another direction, and
Mhm.
one of those directions was to start teaching guitar. So what
Yeah.
what drew you to teaching guitar?
Yeah, so, honestly, I've been teaching guitar for over 15 years. I
Mm,
remember I started when I was early on in high school, and I just had, I don't know, 5 to 10 students, like, in my parents' neighborhood that I would either walk to or, like, drive my car to, like, it's always been a part of me, but, honestly, I went full-time with it a few years ago, when COVID started, I really started just doing some more stuff online, and it really blew up, but, like, I've done tours, I've done session work, I've been a gigging musician, and I still do some of that to a degree. I really do, but honestly, there's nothing as rewarding as teaching someone to do what I do. I can affect and influence and inspire a lot of people when I'm on a stage, but when I can tell them, "Well, this is how you do it," that's remarkable to me, and it is truly the most rewarding thing.
mhm,
I believe music is a gift from God. It's a language, and when
mhm,
it's taught properly, it will point to the divine nature of our creator. And
mm,
I really feel called to teach music the way that it will point to the divine nature of God as a creator. And
yeah,
I still get opportunities to do things outside of teaching, but honestly, the past few years, I've turned down a lot of opportunities to perform, to do a whole bunch of different things just because I want to focus on teaching, which is weird
mm,
because most people at, like, a higher level just teach, like, every now and then, like, in between tours or in between gigs, and I really am trying to completely focus on that.
I think
And
that's
yeah,
wonderful.
and because I want my students to feel that I'm not one of those teachers where I'm gonna have them for a season and go leave on a tour and then never see them again. I want to be so involved with my students, and I absolutely love it. But I believe it's my calling. I really do. I love
Mm.
playing. I love performing, but am now at a point where I know God created me to teach people the language of music on the instrument.
I love that. I love that you approach it as a ministry, not just something you do to pay the
Absolutely.
bills as a job, which,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, there's nobility in that we need to pay our bills, but
And I will tell you this just from an entrepreneurship mindset, a lot of people want to do things to make money. If you are truly denying everything else and walking in the calling that God has placed on your life, even if you're not don't worry about, "Oh, I have to make money with this," or whatever. God will provide. Like, he will provide
Mm,
in huge ways that you could never imagine.
yeah.
Never go into a field just because I wanna make money or I have to pay the bills. I mean,
Mhm,
it's not gonna work out, and it's not gonna be a very joyful experience, but it's that's the reason why I do it. That's the reason why I get up every day. Last year, I was literally teaching almost 60 hours a week. And it
wow.
was not because I wanted to make money to, of course, I needed to feed myself and pay my mortgage and everything, but
Mhm,
I didn't need to teach 60 hours a week. I taught 60 hours a week because that's going to allow me to touch more people and teach them the divine
mhm.
nature of God as a creator through the language of music.
Yeah. So, speaking of teaching guitar, you actually have
Yeah,
a course coming out
I do.
this month. So, tell
Yes.
us about it.
Yes, I do. So I'm really excited. I've been doing a lot of one-on-one Zoom lessons. I've done a few master classes, but this is a group course. It's called Secret Weapons, and it is
Mm,
designed to teach you the secret weapons you need to succeed as a modern day pro guitarist.
mm,
I have really consolidated all of the top techniques and uh, the things that I've come across in the industry, the things I've learned from professionals, even some techniques that I've developed on my own. And I've really spent quite a bit of time putting all of them in one course. So this is going to be one of those courses where if you just want to have a new secret weapon for your guitar arsenal every single week, and we're going to teach you how to apply it to your playing, your everyday playing. I've put all of that in this course. It's going to be really
mm.
fun, and you also get it's live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. But all the lessons are recorded. You don't have to attend it live. You can watch all the videos. There's a community group. You get practice schedules, diagrams, tabs, all of these resources, and you get 24/7 access to me throughout the week. It's going to be an amazing course, and I'm so excited about it. It's I've had one other course with this website called learnontill.com, and that's the
Mm.
where people can find it. They can also just look on my Instagram, and all the info is already there. Um,
Nice.
but I've had such breakthrough in these group courses, and it's been amazing to see people changing the ways of playing. I've had some students that were just like closet guitar players and just playing in their bedroom, and now like
Mhm.
out and about jamming with cover bands, playing in sessions. It's amazing to see the life change, truly.
Excellent. And so, for someone who maybe hears this podcast episode in a few months,
Hmm.
can you access it anytime, or how
Absolutely.
does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So this the secret weapons course on learnontill.com, the start date is August 10th. But it goes every week. The first week's free. You can cancel anytime. It's just a great thing if you want to continue your learning and just add some new tool to your guitar playing tool belt. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, if you're listening to this and it's December, if it's November, you can still hop in the course. It's going to keep going. It's an amazing, amazing opportunity.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And for the guitar players who are listening in and who feel like they've plateaued in their playing, let's say they're like, oh, I'd love to do this course. And what can I do kind of in the meantime? What is
Yeah.
a practical piece of advice you can give someone who just feels frustrated, like they've plateaued, they're
Yeah.
not making progress?
So as you can probably tell, I am I am very spiritual with everything that I do. And
Mm.
I will give probably a practical answer and a spiritual answer to this.
Yep.
Practical, always be improving. I think even for me, every single day I'm done with the day, no matter if I've taught lessons, if I played a gig, whatever it is, when I go to bed, I think about one thing that I can improve on.
Mm.
And I think that's so important. Sometimes we're not really aware of our weaknesses. And I really challenge
Mm.
people to, well, go home and really figure out what is something that I know is a weakness in my guitar playing, or I know I've not accomplished this yet. And that's the next
Mm.
step.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're just, content with where we are. Always find something that you're improving on. So that's a
Mm.
practical piece of advice. If I was going to say more of a spiritual piece of advice, and this is a little more hits home for me a little bit more. If you're ever feeling like you're plateauing in your guitar learning or your guitar playing, you don't really even want to pick it up anymore, remember why you picked it up in the first place. Remember the
Mm.
purpose behind
Mhm.
wanting to learn the guitar.
Yeah.
And if you don't have some great purpose behind it, find it. And if you struggle to find it, I'll give you one right now. Music is divine. Music is a language created by God for divine purposes. It is intended to glorify Him. And music is a way the human soul can experience the love of God. Even if that soul does not know Him personally yet, music allows for the soul to experience the love of God because music is a gift from God.
Mhm.
And so for me, if I ever have a day, which is rare, but if I ever have a day where I don't want to get up and I don't want to teach, remember why I started doing this in the first place. It's because there might be somebody out there that needs that.
Yeah, that's so powerful. Thank you so much. Those words, man, there's so much encouragement in this conversation. I'm excited for people to hear it. So how can people find you and your courses online?
Yeah. So if you go at Caitlin Guitar on Instagram or TikTok, it's Caitlin, my first name, Caitlin, and then just the word guitar. You can find really everything. And if you Linktree is a great thing. So my Linktree or my link in bio has everything from one-on-one Zoom lessons to all the secret weapons course and any other group courses that I'll be putting up online. You can also go to CaitlinCaggiano.com/lessons if you want to be learning one-on-one with me through Zoom. You can also just Google Caitlin Guitar, and it's probably one of the first things to pop up, which is great.
That is good.
Yeah,
SEO.
but Instagram's really a great place to connect with me.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll definitely leave links for that in the description so that people can follow up, contact you, follow you on social media, do all the things.
Yeah,
But thank you so much for your time and sharing about your music and your
thank you so
ministry
much.
and offering some really great advice for our guitar playing as well. I
Yeah.
really appreciate your
Well,
time.
thank you so much for having me again. I'm so grateful for what you're doing for this community of female Christian guitar girls. It's incredible, and thank you for everything. And I look forward to everything that you do in the future. And I'll be praying that God leads you and guides you in this journey and just brings so much good success upon you and this podcast.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to all our listeners, if you enjoyed this chat, there are many more to come. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to visit chelseaamber.com/5days to get some encouraging devotionals and free music downloads in your inbox. I'll leave a link for that in the episode description, as well as links to connect with Caitlin and learn more about her guitar lessons and courses. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next episode. And until then, happy strumming.